Mountlake Terrace High School will soon be experiencing big changes as they convert into smaller learning communities. This all started when MTHS received a grant from Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation to personalize teaching. The school also received 2 other grants from the U.S. Department of Education to fund and implement the plan. The plan called to divide our school into separate, smaller schools within the same building. Students will get to know their teachers better, as well as the fellow students in their classes. Evidence shows that smaller schools show an increase in academic performance and attendance, and a decrease in dropout rates and violence. During the last school year, teams of teachers proposed ideas, and 6 schools were selected. They are the Achievement, Opportunity, and Service Community, which focuses on the community, Terrace Arts and Academic School, which has a focus on creativity, the Discovery School, that wants students to ask questions and investigate, the School of Global Inquiry wants students to try to influence the world, and the Innovation School hopes to teach how everything is connected. The last of the SLCs is the Renaissance School, which focuses on integrating knowledge with creativity. Students should know that choosing a school is not a career choice, but rather a way to choose a learning style to fit their needs. Spaces like the gym and hub will be shared by all schools. All schools will end at the same time, so students can participate in after-school activities like ASB, clubs, or sports. Many changes will be occurring next year, and it will be exciting to see how they turn out. This is Angela Steger reporting for HBN News.
The Innovation School is a smaller learning community that's focused on creative thinking and problem-solving skills. When you think of the Innovation School, think of the light bulb in our logo. It represents the great ideas that we're always looking for to do things in ways that are new and different and better.
I would say that one class that stands out simply because of this incredibly unique experience, this was in small schools, and I was teaching 9th grade humanities at the time. And we had an amazing opportunity to move up with that class. And so I not only taught them as freshmen, I taught them as sophomores as well. And at the same time, Mr. Falk was teaching 11th grade. And when those kids became juniors, he became their junior humanities teacher, and he followed them up to 12th grade. So in a 4-year cycle, those students had Mr. Falk and I as their primary humanities teacher for all 4 years. Not only that, we taught right next to each other. So I remember that class simply because I had them for 2 years. They were an early class in the Innovation School, so there were some really cool kids that came through. We went to Europe with that group. So that class stands out for all of those reasons. We got to really know them well. I got to know their families really well. I'm still in contact with many of those students just because of that relationship that you get to build over 2 and then 2 more years as I would pop in and see them in Mr. Falk's class. That class stands out.
While teachers in the Innovation School still teach many of the same things that are taught in traditional high schools, we also recognize that it's how students apply this knowledge to solve real-life problems that's going to have lasting value for them. Innovation School staff are always striving for new, different, and better ways to provide in-depth learning experiences for our students. Imagine instead of dissecting frogs in your science class, you collect live frogs from the school's outdoor naturescape and study their behavior in a wetland terrarium of your own design.
You have to share something about yourself. And I think Mr. Matthews wanted to start, and we'll go this way.
That's fine. Okay. This one is only a half, so I'm going to say I am Mr. Jim Matthews. I teach physical science and physics. Am I doing this correctly? I climbed Mount Rainier.
He just did it this summer, so I thought he knew.
We saw
I'm a rabid Husky fan.
That's really important. You're gonna get fired.
And I like tests.
Schwab, but only my mother, Hoffman Gregory Scott. have a 7-year-old son. His name is Jacob, and he is going to be taller than I am. At 7 years old, he's already 4'9" and weighs 85 pounds.
That's all Alicia.
So, yeah, let's see. I used to be, prior to being a principal, I was an assistant principal at Shorewood High School.
What's up, Thunderbirds?
And then prior to that, I was an assistant principal at a school down in Oregon called Tiger High School. Tigers. And then prior to that, I was an athletic director and an assistant principal in Camas, Washington. And prior to that, I was an English teacher for 9 years. I was an English teacher and a head football coach and a wrestling coach at Tiger High School.
You're adding up some years here, Bob.
I know. I used to think this is my 18th year in education. I am a graduate of the University of Oregon. And this is going to stick. I'm going to stick this one to Mr. Matthews. I was one of 2 people selected by the University of Oregon this year to win the Leo Harris Award, which is given to graduates who have been out of school for 20 years. So I'm going back to be presented with the award at the University of Washington game in Austin Stadium. Let's see. I played professional football for 1 year. I played for the San Diego Chargers, and that was a very interesting year of my life. If you want to talk about it sometime, I'd be happy to fill you in with some interesting stories. Let's see.
How much do you bench press?
Now about 135 pounds.
Dang, that's how much Diana does.
Hey, I would not mess with Diana. There's a few fights that I wouldn't want to break up with this one. I think Diana, where I want to go.
Just sit back and let it happen. No, you better watch your back.
I play, in my spare time, I play in a 3-piece acoustic band with 2 other administrators in the district, and we actually have played some gigs this summer, and we're going to be playing a gig next week. I play the guitar, and I sing. And let's see, what else? I haven't seen the movie Talladega Nights yet, but I want to.
Ooh.
And lastly, I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and I read him voraciously.
Really? That's a lot to My name is Gaynell. Anyone else in this room with my name? No. Okay, Gaynell. My last name is Dur.
You can't walk up.
My husband's Jay. I have 2 daughters. Allison,
They're pretty cool.
who's in college in Flagstaff, Arizona. Caitlin is in college at Central Washington. She's going to be a special ed teacher. I love, whoa, teaching.
I love it.
Okay. I spent the night on an airplane with Brett.
Were there snakes?
Lindsay, was anyone else in the airplane with us?
Lindsay.
Oh, okay, Lindsay.
All
Lindsay
3
was
of
with me too. I broke my foot the first day we landed in Berlin.
That must have been a hard landing.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, I pushed her.
Delicious streak.
Let's see, what else did I, what do I do?
What do you teach? What do you teach?
Oh, history and history.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
You make books and talk show radio.
I love talk radio, but I have something better. Okay,
Oh no.
this is an image for you. I love whitewater rafting. Love it! And the sight of me in a wetsuit is something you'll never forget.
Wait, you like Muppets?
However much you want to.
Yeah, the rafting. Oh, there's next top model.
Okay, right now I'm really into Project Runway.
Yes.
Oh, me too. Really? Who's gonna win this time?
Me. Julian.
think Willie's gonna do it?
Yay, Mr.
Okay, my name is Stacy Anderson. Moving on, I grew up in Fort Orchard, Washington.
Is there a port there?
There is
Is there an orchard?
many.
Okay, I always wanted to know that.
I have a younger brother and 2 older stepbrothers.
Are they cute?
Brothers.
Are they cute?
Are you looking?
And let's see. I'm getting married next summer.
Yeah! Cake bites.
It's fun. I have all this summer. Questions like fist fights. And we're all clapping. Wow.
My name is Nick, but my nickname is Pickles.
Oh.
I have no idea. That's my sister. She's really short.
You're not that big.
More than her. She's 17. I know way too much about comics. Like, it's scary. My dad writes screenplays.
I didn't know that. I knew that.
I learned to play guitar. I like writing comic books. And I like acting.
Sorry, I didn't mean to walk.
Where's the big council? You want this for snack?
Hey!
It was pretty much clean.
So you didn't get that dirty.
She told me not to.
Hey, I did pretty good.
Yeah, you did.
Stop here, I'll take the money. Okay, yeah.
I think this is women. Yeah.
Okay. My name is Dory Pearce, and I am a AOS teacher. I teach social studies and history for that school. So AOS, the type of student that's interested in AOS is interested in taking sort of a traditional calendar, taking 7th periods a day, 50-minute periods. They're also probably interested in taking a wide range of classes because we have a lot of classes outside of maybe the norm for people to have opportunities to take. What makes AOS unique is as part of our advisory, we have opportunity for service projects. So you're working to give back to the community. I think what also makes AOS unique is that in being in year-long classes with students, at least as far as the social studies goes, we're able to sort of get to know each other as a group within those class periods. And I think that helps in the classroom as far as the types of activities I can do, or I can ask students to do, given the fact that they know each other already. It makes it a little bit easier over time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, if you asked me what I thought was the hardest thing in my career, it would definitely be when we went to small schools. Our intentions were great, I think. We'd done a bunch of research that showed that smaller schools, kids get less lost. They can't hide. People help them more. And so we broke up into 5 small schools. But what really ended up happening is the 5 small schools competed. They were competing for resources and students, and it was not fun. We lost over like a 5-year period more than 50% of the teachers moved on, went to different schools or got out of teaching itself, including some good friends of mine and some very good teachers.
the small schools was a movement that occurred, and that was a change back to a traditional model, but in a good way. Terrace has been very consistent, and you can count on the people and the experiences here to be pretty positive. My name is Mr. Ellinger. I have been fortunate to work here at Mountlake Terrace my entire career, which I believe this is my 19th year at Mountlake Terrace. Well, I'm endorsed to teach social studies and English, and I have been blessed and fortunate to have been able to combine those most of my career. So I currently teach humanities, 10th grade humanities honors, which is a combination of AP European History and honors English. And I also teach AP Euro as a standalone class. But I have taught many other classes throughout my time, but that's kind of what I teach now. Well, first of all, let me say thank you for doing this. Not that I am representative of the history of Terrace, but as a history teacher, and I think this is a really cool time in our school's history, and I hope that the film festival is a part of that. And it began the first year of the small schools movement. So my third or fourth year here at Terrace, we broke the school up into 5 small schools, and I was in the innovation school along with a few other staff members who are still here, like Ms. Nelson, Mr. Tong, Mr. Falk, when he was a teacher, was in our small school, Mr. Merlino, and others who have moved on.
That's Mr. Madden. Mr. Ellinger. He's not feeling so great today. What? He looks good though, doesn't he? He looks real good. I just wish I had his hair. I do. He just wishes he had hair, period.
And the humanities teachers at the time were trying to come up with new curriculum and new things to do that tied into what we were doing in the classroom. And we decided to start this film project that evolved into, well, let's show the best films that our kids made in the theater. And we started calling it the Film Festival. And so it began with Mr. Nyman, who's no longer here, Miss Davis, who's at Briar Terrace. She's now Miss Franklin.
We worked hard on it. Like I said, the person who kept us all in line is Miss Franklin. She's the organizer. She's the taskmaster. You guys know that Briar Terrace is a very lucky place. If Briar Terrace is getting there, we're losing next year. So huge loss to Miss Franklin.
And we all did a 9 through 12 film festival. We had tiny little flip cameras. If you remember, they were, compared to what we have now, they're garbage. And kids made wonderful films, and we started showing them, and it got really popular. And it's something that we've maintained since then. So I think we're on our 11th or 12th film festival. And it's really kind of stayed the same in that sense. We feature the best films that have been produced by Terrace students. We now have the STEM 12 students join us, and it's a great competition. It's a great exposure to creating film. We've had a lot of students who've gone on after graduating and stayed into film and pursued film as a hobby, or even in some cases as a career. So the film festival is something I'm really proud of. I didn't start it, but I've been a part of it, and along with Mr. Falk and Merlino and others. And so it's a really cool project, and I think it's ingrained itself into the Terrace community.
Pockets full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
Hello, I'm Steven, and I'm taking time off wrestling crocs while holding small children to take you through a tour of the Black Death that swept across Europe in 1347. It took out 1/3 of Europe's population and left surviving towns in a society devastated and mere shells of its former self. Right now, I'm standing here next to Molly, who's the actual survivor of the Black Death. Don't ask me how she could possibly still be living.
Thank God for Botox and plastic surgery.
Because she's over 650 years old.
Are you calling me old?
Yes. Anyway, how old were you when the Black Death hit?
Well, I was 15, but before time had ravished my once youthful good looks, I looked like this.
Daughters for sale, daughters for sale. Anyone? Anyone? Speaking of which, they should be back anytime.
Ew, their bodies are everywhere. Too bad their families left them.
Death were transmitted in one of two ways. The first way of transmission, causing the plague-form septicemia and bubonic, was caused by direct contact with the actual flea itself, carrying the bacteria Ursus pestis. Humans and rats all served as hosts. After ingesting infected blood of a rat or a human carrying the disease, the bacteria would multiply in that flea's stomach, causing it never to be full and setting it on a feeding frenzy. Never able to fill itself, but infecting several others in this process, and then eventually starving to death, but leaving several infected people in its wake, and the process would start all over.
So what about the Black Plague? 1/3 of Europe's population died, and 35 million in China before that. After the plague ended, people were left paranoid and looking for someone to blame. They blamed Jews and non-believers. And it finally ended in 1315, but it continued to hit Europe sporadically over the next 500 years. 800 people died a day, and it left families torn apart, and people fled their homes to escape the plague. That didn't help much because they ended up causing it to spread elsewhere. Because of the such rapid onset of the plague, many people believed that it was the wrath of God punishing them for their sins.
So do you think this can happen again?
Maybe. We have a cure for it now, but it's still in parts of Asia and Africa. And although we have all this technology, it could be our downfall.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, just think about it. Our water's centralized, so if one thing gets into that, thousands could be affected. And diseases have been known to mutate and come back. Influenza did. So what if the Black Plague comes back like influenza did? In our modern society, we can travel around the world in 18 hours. Think about how fast a disease could travel. And there's still major diseases out there like AIDS. That's the so what.
Oh, sorry, didn't see you there. Hi, I'm Nick Terry. You may remember me from such films as Telepathic and the trailer for the movie Duel. Now, you'd like to make a movie, wouldn't you? Who doesn't? But there are a few things you should know before just taking that camera out there and filming. We're gonna go through them step by step. Now, you're probably thinking you can just take a camera and go if you want to make a movie, but it actually takes a lot of what is known as pre-production, which we'll talk about now. Step 1 of pre-production is the script. Now, you might think with all the millions of movies coming out of Hollywood today that a lot of scripts are extremely similar. Well, you'd be right. But at the same time, there are many different genres you can write about, such as...
Oranges are my favorite fruit.
Well, I can see the appeal.
Oranges are my favorite fruit.
Yo, dog, I can see the appeal.
That's not even a black comment. Oranges are my favorite fruit. The orange is a majestic fruit.
I can see your fascination.
Oranges are my favorite fruit!
I can see the appeal!
Ah! Oranges are my favorite fruit.
Orange, not on high. O-R-A-N-G-E.
What's your favorite fruit? That's mine too! Oranges are my favorite fruit. You don't understand! Oranges are my favorite fruit.
I can see the appeal!
Step 2 in the filmmaking process is production. This is where you actually take the camera and you go out and film things. There are also a variety of characters that will be used in your film. Characters like the hero. The damsel in distress.
I'm stronger than Nick.
The villain, and more.
Wait, why am I the villain? Is it because I'm Dude, that's bullshit!
Post-production is where your film actually comes together. During post-production, editors will be in charge of editing together the pieces of your film. Editors, from the Latin word editori, which means child of darkness, are solitary creatures, who are actually inhuman. They have extremely long attention spans, and spend 90% of their life in the darkness in front of computer screens editing. This is rare footage of an actual editor in its natural habitat.
What are you doing?
Dragon! He's going live! I hope you found this film educational, and have learned how to make your own movie, because that was the goal. So go out there and make your own films.